So, Coach said starters will play a little bit here. How do you approach this game, even though it's preseason with them having that time off that they had last week?
Really the same way. I think what's great about this is it really allows us as coaches and players to really focus and prepare, kind of even for us as coaches, get back to the building, get into a mindset of what we do during the season as far as keeping the schedule the same. Like for today, for instance, I don't know what day it is in the real world, but for us it's a Thursday. Today's a Thursday, so we're doing a Thursday practice. And I think for us as coaches, we have some new guys on staff, offense, defense, special teams, so it allows us to get through that. And then for instance, the quarterbacks, the process they go through. It's different and easier when you're here than it is when you're at camp. It's a little bit different setting. So all of that kind of goes in tail, and then you get to the game and you go play.
You have 2 games with the new side of the left offensive line. You feel like you've seen enough to have confidence from the protection going into the regular season?
I feel really good right now where it's at, and I think that's a credit to Coach Heck and Coach Mattei, and then obviously the players there on that left side. They've done a great job. Josh has done great. He's really, I think every day he gets a little bit better. He feels more confident, which is natural. So we want to keep that going. There's still going to be times where some things happen, and that's okay. Let's just learn from it and then just try to eliminate those as much as we can.
I know you get those reps in practice, but how important is it to get Patrick out there in a game situation with those guys?
It's vital. You want to be able to have that so that these guys, again, even for Patrick, like as he gets into the mode of getting ready to play the regular season, understanding, for instance, the offensive line, the sets that they have, where they're at, the cadence for those offensive linemen listening to Pat, that's important. Then those guys for instance, the young guys on the left side of the line communicating and hearing the calls that we have. So all of it is really a great test run and a great environment to be able to help them for week 1.
Matt, when you get to this point, how much are you trying to explain to Rashard Smith that, like, hey, I know it's a lot, but like trust us on like how long this process is to get him ready for like the regular season?
It's key that we make him understand that, because I can imagine a young guy like him coming into this offense, even a guy like Gardner that's here for the first time who's been in several different offenses. It can be a lot. So you just got to kind of temper their expectations and not allow them to get frustrated, whoever it is. If it's Rashard, if you make a mistake, that's okay. Don't make it twice. And then when you get a chance to get on the football field like he did last week, he made some good plays, and he did a good job there. So, but can you follow that up and continue with that is the key.
Coach Tobe mentioned, that for a guy like Tyquan, looked like he's going to make the team. He's going to find a role for him on special teams. If you end up with, a guy like Sky or Nico that ends up being a 7th receiver, do you have the converse challenge of trying to figure out how to best use them on the offensive side?
Yeah, and I think it's a really good situation for us when you have that. One of the things that Coach Reed, Brett Veach, Tobe on special teams, they do a great job of trying to figure out, okay, if this guy is on the roster, how can we maximize what he does best? And then vice versa. If there's a guy that's a special teams guy and we need him in a certain role, like how do we get him in the offense and use him? Because you want to maximize those guys that are up for game day. And you want to try to stay away from having a guy that's playing 4 or 5, 6 plays a game. You'd like to use those guys as much as possible, but the coaches do a good job with that.
Kind of a follow-up to the backup wide receiver room. How has Rashid's anticipated early availability might have impacted or complicated figuring out the back end of that receiver room?
One of the things that we try to do as a staff was prepare both ways for it, just not knowing.
Yeah.
So we have a plan for if he is there and if he's not there. And so it kind of made it easier. And that's not something that we just did here recently. Like, we've thought it through. And there is a little bit of juggling in training camp, not only just with that, but also his health, making sure that you balance both of those together. So Coach Embry's done a great job of doing that. And I think we have a solid plan in place.
Last couple.
I wanted to ask you about the touchdown to Robert Tunyon there that Minshew threw.
Yeah.
Is he finding his own space there? Is that his route to stop on that play? Or is that something that he spots in the coverage?
No, he did some scrambling on that, and we told him after the play on the sideline, it's a great job listening to Coach Connor in training camp on the scramble rules. He was supposed to run he had a corner route, which is pretty obvious on that play, and then he just kind of saw what was happening, slipped back inside, and then Gardner made a heck of a throw. Being able to see that throw across his body, that's one of those ones as a quarterback coach, you're like, no, yes, that was great. But that was just him playing football. He's had a great camp.
Yeah, and then on the left side of the offensive line that Pete
Yeah.
asked about, how much of, I don't know whether it's playbook expansion, just how much of do you have to have in mind the fact that those guys are gonna go through some educational stuff in the first part of the season?
We really we try to understand that on the front end, whether it's right when you get into training camp. It's nice because when you get in training camp, you put on the pads. So now you gotta let them play. You gotta see what they can do. So the one-on-one reps too are great, which a lot of people don't see. But when they're getting these one-on-one reps during our 7-on-7 periods, that's valuable time. So we put all that together, and then now they get these preseason games, and so now that's all very real for them for timing. And now it's our job as coaches to make sure that we coach them the right way to help them develop.
Last one, Nate.
Matt, I imagine, work with me here, I imagine when you go through the scheme evaluation, short yardage is obviously of big importance.
Mhm.
You also know too that you guys have not ran a quarterback sneak since October of 2019.
Yeah.
Does that encourage more creativity in terms of short yardage type plays, or has there been discussions about, hey, if Pat wants to have the freedom, has the ability to do it, you guys could return back to a more traditional style of short yardage plays?
Yeah, for us, that's a critical part of the game that you got to be great at, and we're hard on ourselves when we don't do well, and we know that the quarterback sneak in this game for a lot of teams is very, very important, and they do it. They live by it. You have the tush push that everybody does, or that several teams do. Obviously, we don't live in that world, but schematically, we feel like we have our own ways of kind of getting to that quarterback sneak, even if it's not that play. But then there also is maybe the element of surprise when that does come. You never know, right? So I think that that's kind of an advantage to us. But it is for us to also know, hey, there are different ways to be successful, whether it's running the football, throwing it. And that's where I think, a lot of credit to Coach Reed and Coach Heck in the run game with that part of it.
You say you're not in the tush push world.
Mm-hmm.
Who, I guess, among the crew is saying maybe we should do that? Or is it just an acknowledgement that, hey, like, if we're not doing that, it gives us more options than, say, teams that are leaning towards being in that tush push world?
Well, I'm telling you that we're not in the tush push world, but maybe we are and you don't know it. So I'm just not going to say it right now. That would be pretty sweet if now you don't really know. So maybe we come out the first 3rd and 1 and do it. It'd be pretty cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.